dark ground. And I go, I ain't hear no bell.
Brilliant.
And I jump up on this rock that's just behind the demon as I stand between Veo and I crit.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, that's what I wanted last turn, so I would have stood up too, but
that's a finale. I mean, I hope.
Ignatius. Really quick math. 47 damage.
Oh man. So you spray to your feet and Ignatius flares to life, biting deeply, and you hear Ignatius's righteous voice call out, "Drive back the darkness!" And the holy glare flares with light as it collides with the shadow stuff of this demon, as if this was Ignatius's purpose to destroy entities just like this. But the creature, reeling from the blow, the shadow stuff still binds it together.
I remove Ignatius and I go and I raise it again as I mumble to this awful demon. My blade is thirsty, and I get a 21 to hit.
That is a true strike with Ignatius.
25 damage. And finally, my final attack, coming in with an 18 to hit.
All three of those hits. How do you destroy this creature?
Sort of like as Ignatius is cleaving into its wounds, the radiance is drawing out the light from it. So as the wounds start to bleed light, and as I continue the assault with Ignatius, the shadow starts to disappear, and my helm is burning with this like radiance. The light shines through, and it begins to just sort of dissolve in front of me as I stand
it just
on
fades away, like just like light spilling into a darkened room. The creature fades,
and I breathe in heavily. Thanks, Vale.
Sebastian lowers to the floor, and the shadows all get sucked back into him, and he looks over at you and he goes, "Show off."
Sebastian, you were Shadow. You were Shadow.
I had that whole battle, and then you come out of nowhere and say some cool line. Like, what are you, the king of one-liners here?
I am no king. I am a prince. I am the prince of one-liners. That is my title.
It was pretty awesome.
That is my oath.
It was pretty awesome.
I actually, though, feel really... I don't really feel very strong. I feel really
very pale.
Weak. Yeah. That demon, it bit me. He bit me. That's why I'm so mad. Oh, my neck. And he looked into my soul and took a part of it, I think. I don't know what is a soul, but I don't feel like I have as much of it anymore.
Are you guys okay? Is everybody okay?
That affected me.
Yeah,
I feel like I might
feeling just a little bit more grumpy than usual and a little bit less friendly towards everyone. I'm just... I need a nap is what I need. And a snack. And I think we should burn all these bodies. I'm just saying.
Yeah, probably. Do you think they'll be okay with that?
I hold my hand against the helm, and I want to remove one of the. I believe it is.
I can prestidigitate.
Yeah, I put my hand on your hand, and I'm like, Pluto, I can make fire.
Yeah.
So can I?
Yeah, but
Oh, wasted.
And I.
Pluto, like I can do it. I can do it like with minimal effort. You don't need to use resources.
I go over to make a bonfire on top.
But then I actually pull out a flint and tinder, and I begin to strike it against the ground.
And about 4 minutes later, while you're doing that, I walk over and look at the pile of bodies, and it bursts into flames.
Does anyone have any kindling? Do you have any like cotton? I need some cotton. Does anyone have any cotton?
I help Pluto.
Yeah, can you just light my little fire on fire? Start it up.
I do.
Yes.
I light your little fire on fire.
All told, there are dozens of corpses here. As you light the fires, you can see that in one of the crypts off of the main mausoleum, the walls have been broken in, and there is a massive rent in the floor, a cavernous opening that stretches down into the darkness.
Sorry, where is that?
So in the northern area of the chamber here, there is a set of additional crypts off the main mausoleum of Saint Fiona, and here there has been a breakthrough in the baseboards. Oh, sorry, the flagstones of the catacombs. That is a tunnel that has been dug up, and the flagstones are shattered and cracked and broken, but the tunnel is perfectly cylindrical. The tunnel itself is about 10 feet in diameter, and it is a perfect cylinder that extends past your dark vision can see, that straight down.
Approaching the tunnel, can I surmise if it was magical, animal, or mechanical in its creation?
What does unless you have proficiency in like masonry or stonework, give me an investigation check, but without any additional proficiency, you'll figure out that you're limited.
I have mason's tools, and remember, I'm a mason.
Huh.
I mean, true, maybe we can work together.
It was Pluto.
Hallo?
Hallo?
Hei.
Hei, er du hjemme nå?
Nei, jeg er i byen. Jeg er på vei hjem.
Ja.
Jeg måtte jobbe
Nei,
litt ekstra og bytte noe downlights på et hotellrom som var fullboka, eller som det skulle komme gjester på, så da... Ja, men jeg er på vei hjemover da i hvert fall. Og så er det 40 minutter cirka, står det på GPS-en.
Ja. Men jeg bare lurte. Eller Tina sendte meg melding om at hun skal kjøpe seg den sekken som er på Europris, som jeg har drevet vurdert også.
Ja.
Men jeg bare tenkte, hvis du var hjemme, så kunne du sjekke om det er regntrekk på den sekken jeg har. Hvis det ikke er det, så blir alt gjennomvått. Da må jeg kjøpe den sekken.
Ja.
Jeg kan ringe Ludvig, så kanskje han er hjemme på vei bort til sentrum.
Han dro ut. Jeg spurte om han kunne hente jentene, han gadd ikke.
Nei. Ja, men jeg får sjekke. Jeg ser på den sekken, jeg skal se om jeg gjør det eller ikke. Det koster 500 og snakke noe dyr.
Ja. Greit. Ha det.
Ha det. It was Pluto.
I get a 20.
All right, Pluto, give me a check. Add your proficiency modifier to this one. And with the basis tools, you and Sebastian can talk it over.
Rockin'
past the foundation stones and concrete of the crypt and extends into the earth and clay itself. And so the clay and rock that gives
Traffic.
way after the construction. As you know, this area of Liberio is effectively a artificial landmass. So it very quickly goes into sediment, and if you examine further, you actually smell that smell of seawater and clay and rock. Whatever dug this was not a beast or a machine. It's too perfect for that. It's almost as if someone might have used magic to excavate or destroy the material as they went along.
So again, I'm still saying the suspect is a necromancer at this point. We have raised dead, we have summoned demons, perhaps. We have magically carved tunnels into the basement. I do think at this point, though, it's best that we go share our findings with the paladins. Perhaps they can actually do their jobs and help us look into this.
Do we have a way of at least blocking this until we bring them down?
I hold out my hand and I cast mold earth, and 5 feet of rock lump up in front of it.
Yeah, you could use mold earth to seal the hole.
Alright. So it takes me a few minutes, but I pile up the debris to just seal the entrance loosely, just so that nothing else comes in, but I'll probably excavate it once we get...
While you're doing it, I can help too. I can push big rocks over.
Okay.
I admire your strength, Pluto. It's good, thank you.
It
I
does,
sit back and
I
munch
especially
on
push the
snacks.
ones you're pushing.
beyond this, it does not look like the actual bones of any of the interred paladins and clerics are disturbed. The actual sarcophagus that houses Saint Fiona's remains seems to be undisturbed. While there is some damage to the structure of the catacombs themselves, most of it looks like it is the result of ancient damage from earthquakes long ago. Liberio does get hit by earthquakes, and it does suffer from the fact that it is on an artificial island. So the damage to the catacombs has improved over the years, but the actual people who were buried here, it doesn't appear that they were used. Even as you go through the niches where the earthly remains of paladins and clerics are, what's there are skeletal remains, but these undead creatures that were destroyed and the bodies that were not animals here. These creatures, on the other hand, were flesh. And if you had to guess, probably recently deceased. Yeah. And the only thing that you notice that through searching through is that as you burn the bodies and find any of the markings, the sailors' tattoos are a recurring theme that you notice on the corpses. Several of them. You can each roll me a perception check.
Three.
15.
Vale, you notice this. The tattoos, many of the sailors have a tattoo on their left shoulders that is the symbol of a bird's skull.
ship, or perhaps part of the same guild. Now, we don't live here, so maybe asking the people who do, maybe Portia? Is it Portia?
Or maybe Isabella Ezio might know a little bit more about that.
True.
If they were all from the same ship, the number of bodies would mean that an entire crew of the sailing vessel was murdered.
Yes. That's what I'm wondering. Did an entire crew go missing? Did
Someone's got this many bodies with the same tattoos. It doesn't make sense that someone noticed.
Well, what was the paladin's name? Leonard? Lewis.
Let's go blame this all on Lewis, shall
It's time for Lewis to get a talking to.
We didn't
Okay.
finish their ritual spells.
As you head back up out of the crypts,
I don't understand Norwegian speed limits. This road only has 60. It's so stupid. It could easily handle 80.
bang, 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 bang.
Yoda 963. Yoda 963.
High Flamekeeper Portia greets you, and she immediately can see that something happened. And you see a grave look wash over her face. She says, "What happened?"
Well, there was some trouble down there.
All those safety nets you put in. All that hard work.
You had demons in your basement?
Look at my neck. Look at that. Look at that.
Light the flame. How did this happen? Are the wards in the crypt still in place? What of our dead?
The dead are still intact, but there are new dead, and they're very scary, and your wards are not in place, and there's a giant tunnel into the crypts, so somebody was attempting a zombified attack on our meeting.
Portia, you think there were wards down
There were wards, they weren't operational. There may have been an incident involving your wards.
there? I mean, when we went down there, we felt that it wasn't the same as up top.
No,
Yeah.
the forbidden spells that are woven over the crypts are separate from those over the over upstairs.
There were none downstairs. Right?
That means that someone would have had to have unbound them. It would have taken a powerful dark mage to undo that.
I mean, everything about this screams dark mage, and I should know. I've had my fair share of experience with dark mages.
We had a few run-ins.
A few run-ins. I live very closely with one. So, zombies. We're talking necromancy. We're talking magically created tunnels. We're talking dismantling your wards. We're talking summoning demons. All things that, can be very helpful in the right circumstances, but not these circumstances.
And this wouldn't have just been done overnight. This has taken some time and planning.
She rubs her hand over her face, and you can see that there is both, like, the expression on her face is both one of the palpable sense that a sacred space has been violated, but also one of embarrassment that, and she says, protecting this place was my responsibility, was the knight's responsibility. must gather my acolytes, and we need to make this right as quickly as we can.
We should take you down and at least show you what we've found.
If it's anybody's fault, I don't put the blame on yourself. Put it on Lewis.
Totally, 100%.
100% Lewis's fault. But we were about to hold a meeting in here with some of the most important people from several nations in our continent. And somebody wanted to do something terrible at that meeting. And we need to figure out who. The meeting will probably have to go on. This investigation may go past when the meeting is, so I'm wondering, we need people on this. We need guards everywhere, and I mean, I don't need to attend the meeting. I can personally start investigating this.
Maybe we can start this investigation, and if we need to break off for the meeting, but maybe the meeting needs to be paused due to safety.
I think we need to sort this out first, for sure.
We can't have Wilhelm here with the threat of assassins, a potential. You keep saying necromancer, like. Ooh.
Yeah, I really don't want to have to give my life again to protect him against things we should be protecting him against.
The thing is, I don't know who our enemies are that are capable of doing this. This doesn't feel like the Queen of Thieves. This doesn't feel like...
You know who it does feel like? Oscar Yoren. But he's
Oscar
dead.
Yoren blew up.
Did he? He blew up, right?
Spar 6 minuter via Östra Åkervej.
He blew up, right? We saw him explode. He broke the staff, and then there was just this like.
There was nothing left.
Yeah.
I am 86% sure we killed Oscar Yoren.
But this is totally his vibe.
Oscar Yoren's, I don't know, that's so season 1.
But could he have a secret apprentice that we didn't know about? There's other dark wizards. I don't know.
So someone found his journal. It was like,
Academy.
I'm gonna pick up where he left off.
Yeah, I'm not going to start assuming it's Oscar Yoren until I find proof of that. It seems ridiculous. We have no beef with the Pale Man. The Pale Man wouldn't leave Drakenheim. That's the other thing. This is here in Liberia.
Flamekeeper Portia says, "Me, my acolytes, and the knights need to attend to this immediately. If the three of you wish to report to the others and decide what is to be done, we had every preparation in place to secure the cathedral for this meeting. And now that we know that this was going to happen, we will redouble our efforts. But you should send word and find out what the plan is for your meeting, because if the Cathedral of St. Fiona is the safest and most secure place in Liberia. The only place that would be any safer would be the Enigma Ziggurat.
Well, it looks like your safest place has been infiltrated, and even with your amazing efforts, you still had to call in the three of us, the cathedral investigators. The cathedral inspectors were the cathedral inspectors.
I don't think they called us. We stormed in.
You called on the cathedral inspectors, and we came and found the issues with your...
We should at least show you where the hole is that we plugged, because that's important.
Certainly. With that, the High Flamekeeper follows follows you into the crypts, and you show her the situation, going through the creatures that was found, and she has a gasp of horror when she sees. Of course, the eldritch being was consumed by Reaper, and the demon was destroyed by Ignatius. So all that remains are the bodies of the sailors that you had started to burn, which unfortunately burning bodies underground fills the entire chamber with tons of smoke. So it's the High Flame Keeper immediately instructs the other flame keepers to begin moving the bodies out of the cathedral so they can be properly cremated.
I'm not an expert at cremation. I'm sorry.
I want to ask her about the tattoo. Have you seen this before? Is this anything you could tell me about?
I don't. It does seem like these people were all part of the same group, but you would need to ask around the harbor to get any sense of that. The harbor master and Anchor Citadel do maintain quite good records of what comes in and out of Liberio, so there is a roll of all the ships that dock and when they leave and go. So if you do head down to the harbor, you would be able to find out at least if any ships have gone missing or have been moored for longer than expected.
That guy knows.
Can we trust you to keep this place safe in the
He's
meantime?
not really awake.
Yes,
seems
I
like.
will redouble all the efforts. Now that we know, we didn't suspect anything like this could ever happen, but now that we know, we'll be vigilant. If you do want to move ahead with having the meeting here, we will make sure that it is safe to do so. And I will check every ward and every safety and reinstate them with all the magic I can muster to make sure that it is safe.
If you need any help, please let us know. I'm sure there are multiple parties here that want to make sure that this place stays safe, including the Knights of the Silver Order and Jacksons.
Yeah, we're
Very
pretty
well.
vested.
And the crows.
Who would you like to report to now that you finished up here?
The sick bay, the medical tent. Let's
Yeah.
go.
Should we go
Let's just
see?
go sit down somewhere just for a minute, catch our breath, figure out why I'm not as charming as I used to be.
Like, who is there to report to? Who's here in Liberia? I'm kind of drawing a blank.
I
Well,
think we should.
currently, the other groups that are coming in, so the representatives of the Silver Order and Wilhelm and Venus Joplin, they are originally the meeting was supposed to be tomorrow, right? So they're all camped out and they were all going to make their way into the city tonight to attend and come in to have the meeting that was planned. So all the arrangements have been made. So calling things off is potentially an option, but that is going to delay things. Pardon me. You would need to consult either with Wilhelm and the others, or perhaps Isabella Ezio, or even sending a messenger going to meet with the other leaders. It's up to you to decide.
I think we at least need to send a letter to him.
Okay, here's the question. When do we need to be washed and ready to have this meeting? Like, when's this meeting? What's our ETA?
It would be tomorrow, first thing tomorrow, essentially.
So what if we just go take a short rest, get a little bit of something to eat, and we go clean up the problem, and then there's no problem for tomorrow.
Well, that would be ideal. We should maybe send a message to Wilhelm and the other leaders, let them know but let them know that we're investigating it.
Yeah, and,
them know that
we
should
can
be
get it fixed.
now. Yeah, at least we know what the problem, so there shouldn't be any more problems with the venue.
Yeah, we've had to contact the catering and tell them to hold off
But
for a little bit.
What's interesting, Pluto, you need to be part of this Gasconade. Veo, you do too.
Yep.
So really, the three people that are available to go off and investigate are Sebastian, myself, Rudy, and Wrath.
You would think to bring those two along with you and maybe get, and what we go just make sure that Wilhelm's okay. And
Well, we don't have to part ways or anything, but once the Gasconade starts, you two will, like Pluto, you by all means need to be there. It's your duel.
I know, I just love killing.
That
so
said,
much, especially
Sebastian's fate is a part of that duel. So,
But is it really? I mean, that's fair. That's fair. Sebastian's not worried. Sebastian's flattered.
It's not. I don't think. Is it timely? I guess the question is, can it wait? How long is the Gasconade usually? How long do Gasconades go on?
I mean, the Gasconade could be as long as it needs to be, but it's also the fact that there is finalizing any negotiations with the Silver Order, and the fact that representatives of the highest levels of rulership of all the nations are going to be at this meeting. So, it's a very important people will be gathered in one place together. And so whether, Sebastian, you want to be part of those conversations or not is really up to you.
No, I should be. I just, well, then that gives us one sleepless night to investigate and solve this mystery.
Wait, what time is it during the day now?
Roll a d12.
4.
4, so we will say that it is 4 in the afternoon.
I mean, we could rest now
We can get this done before dinner.
and then have a midnight investigation. Or do you think go now? Short rest?
No,
Short rest and then
long rest.
Long rest and then all-nighter?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you wanna party.
One last go before the Gasconade.
So we would,
I mean,
and then go down into the crypts to fight an undead. You said like a necromancer at midnight.
First we need to go to the docks and ask about the sparrow, because you see we kind of finished up in the crypts. We could follow the tunnel and see where it goes, but I'm worried it just goes to water.
Yeah. I think the sparrow tattoos are the best.
We have a lead with the sparrow tattoos, and if it leads us back underground, then we'll just come back to the crypts and go dig around in the tunnels. But the harbor seems like a good place to start an investigation. But I won't lie, I used a lot of my magical energy to keep you two alive during that little bit there, and I might need a nappy nap.
Yeah, I'm sore.
I'm pretty sleepy, Pluto.
Feeling extra non-charismatic. I don't even know if that comes back.
Pluto, I would heal faster if you could be my big spoon. Cool.
If you guys do want to take a short rest, at least an hour, have some supper, the hit point reduction, the penalty that you have from the charisma damage from before, that goes away. Let me just check if it goes away on a short rest.
Well, I do think we want to take a long rest.
Can we push a long rest? Can we long rest now and then investigate the docks at night?
Ships come in at night. Do they?
Go to the local watering hole.
We're on the night shift tonight.
If you want to take a long rest now, so technically speaking, you can only benefit from a long rest once in a 24-hour period. So you would have already rested, like you would have. So the answer is you're not going to be able to take a long rest and benefit from it until tonight, right?
Hmm.
Like
Okay, so we have to take a
actual
short rest.
bedtime. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
So you can take a short rest and regain some hit points, and the reductions to your ability scores and hit point maximums will go away on a short rest. But if you want to take a long rest, you're going to need to settle in for the night.
Well,
No
have the
nappy nap when he's
turntables. Okay.
Are you okay with that, Sebastian?
Wait,
I'm going to be less helpful than I was in that last combat for any future things that we run into, but I will still be good.
well, we can go so far, and maybe we won't take as many risks, knowing that we're not at full strength.
I
but
never
we can at
take
least get
risks.
some information and do some investigating.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, yeah, let's do a short rest.
Okay.
Let's do a short rest.
Where are you going to take that short rest? Just at the cathedral?
Yeah, we're just gonna patch ourselves up, take a quick nap.
All right. Certainly. Well, then I think that is an appropriate break for us to take our real life break. So we'll be back in 15 minutes. And we are back from our short rest. We have restocked on all of our consumables, and we're going to play some more D&D. So as Veo, Sebastian, and Pluto patch up their wounds and rest up from the battles beneath the Cathedral of St. Fiona, did any of you as you rest up though, before you spend any hit dice, High Flame Keeper Portia comes and says, "Here, let me tend to your wounds." And she casts healing
today
spells on all
it's
of you.
only 12.5 Celsius, which was the same
spend
as
any hit
yesterday
dice.
morning.
Thank you.
So it's quite
That's very kind.
a lot
Sebastian was a little
cooler
uneasy
today
about
than yesterday.
having holy magic cast on him, but it goes well. He's happy about it.
Thank you. I just try to do what's right by Ignatius. And I just love killing demons. And what we saw down there was monstrous, and it has no place within these walls or the basements of these walls. We're going to continue to figure out what's going on down there. I think we can help you drive this evil from here to your land.
I wanted to offer my assistance in finding out what happened here. Some of the bodies of those who died were relatively intact despite your attempts to do otherwise. I can commune with what remains of their bodies, and we can speak with them if you wish.
Yeah. Nothing bad's ever come from talking to the dead. What?
You do that?
I talked to my mom.
You need a lot of towels.
Yeah, I wonder
Yeah, that's... Why, is that bad?
I'm sure your small
just
intestine
purely
is
from
not
a
in good
digestive
position.
point of view. Yeah.
We may ask 5 questions of one of the deceased. There are many of them, so of course if you wanted to try asking more questions of them, but be aware that Sometimes the dead, especially those that have been faced such a horrific transformation into undeath, they can be a little scattered. You do not commune with the soul of the departed directly. It is more like the impression that they left behind on their earthly remains. If you wish, we can cast the spell, and I can assist you.
That sounds good. Guys, quick huddle.
Yep.
Alright, should we like stick to like serious questions? Like should we try to investigate? Should I avoid questions like who's cuter, Sebastian or Pluto? What are we thinking?
So the answer is Veo. We already did that.
Yeah. So,
Out of Sebastian and Pluto, Veo's the cutest? Okay, no, but what questions can we
because of the
ask?
fur.
I mean, the fur does give you this like natural adorableness that is that okay to say?
I think serious question. Yes, it is. Serious questions, because it will help dial down, I think, the amount of time, because we are on a time limit to get to the meeting.
What if we
Is it-
ask stuff that's like relevant? We know they're probably sailors. What if we ask something like, "What ship do you serve?"
What ship do you serve? That's good, yeah.
Stuff that
Yeah,
really
yeah.
like lasts on them.
What about like, can we ask them how did you die?
Maybe,
What's
but
the
they might
last
not
thing you
know.
remember? What's the last
Yeah,
thing
what's the
you
last thing I
Yeah.
remember? I like that.
Okay.
Who was your captain? Or on what ship did you serve? I guess we can answer that ourselves.
Because they might be ambiguous. We need to figure out. Because if we
Some
figure out the
backup
captain's
questions.
name, the captain name might lead us to where
Unless
they
we're talking.
were last stationed.
What about
When did you arrive in Liberia? Like, how long have they been here? How long were you in Liberia for?
Or maybe, do you know where you were? Is that relevant?
well, we know where they are.
But did they know?
Why would
But we don't care anymore.
I think that's a good group of questions.
unless they were killed not in Liberio, so maybe they need to
That-
know where they were killed.
So maybe just asking them, do you know where you are? Or like where, like, and if they say Liberio, we can then follow that up with how long, like when did you arrive in
Because they
Liberia?
might say something like random. And then
In
you're
which
like,
case we know
oh,
that they were killed somewhere else.
Yeah, where
Could ask them potentially depending on their answers, like what happened with your crew.
We have 5 questions. I think we have 5-ish. Let's-
Actually,
All right.
That's-
actually
Would
don't
you-
feel very personable right now, so I think you should lead this one.
Okay.
I just
Okay.
don't feel like social. I feel like
Portia, I think we're ready to talk to the dead.
She brings you to one of the chambers that was off of the crypts that you passed by. It was a chamber that was used for preparing bodies, and she has lain one of the more intact corpses there, and begins casting the spell. The magic flows through the body, and the semblance of life falls into the face, which you can see there's a small look of realization over the eyes as they open up once more, and the mouth begins to move. High Flame Keeper Portia says, "What is your first question?"
What was our first question?
Shit. Or their captain. I don't understand.
What ship did you serve on, sailor?
My ship was the ill-fated Finch.
Write that down, write that down. Ill-fated Finch. Who was your captain?
Captain Grigori Highsail of Dransmond.
Transmit. What's the last thing you remember?
We were coming into harbor the day out of Liberio. Crew was feeling sick.
Oh boy, guys, did we ask how he, like, now I'm wondering if he died.
How did you get here, or do you know where you are? Like, something to try to, what we're trying to, I think, do is like get a sense of like how he got to like the basement.
Also, I might ask what he was transporting, because if it's
Yeah.
what were you bringing into Liberia?
Bringing delirium and a few passengers.
Who were the passengers?
Bunch of apothecaries from Altbrook.
That's 5 questions. So, that was
Yeah, that was fun. I think.
so. Does he go back to sleep? Sleep. So he came from Dransman, heading towards Liberio. They were transporting delirium, which is already problematic, as well as a group of apothecaries. The crew fell ill.
And it was on the ship, the Finch.
The Finch, and
And
we
the
have the
captain was something high sail.
Faded Finch.
We need the manifest from Captain Highsail's ship to gather the names of these apothecaries, because they would have had to register as
Either-
passengers.
Yeah, leaving Dransman, or if I guess they never made it to Liberia. Like, that's something we could check. We could see if they were supposed to come to Liberia and they never made it, or did they make it and then
Do you
something
not
else
remember?
happened?
Something might have happened and it still made it, but who knows?
It still made it, but the crew may not have.
Yeah. So maybe we go down to the harbor, talk to the harbor master, and ask about the Finch.
Guys, this is bad news. It sounds like we're dealing with some of those sleazy apothecaries. Have you heard of these guys?
What?
All I know is that I'm a potion inspector, and I know how to.
Yeah,
break
apothecaries.
faces.
They're like, let's skirt around the rules and I don't know.
Like you?
No. Worse, like bad me.
Yeah, that's actually you. Like, you're that.
No, like they're the type that would get like expelled from the academy, you know?
Hold on.
Like you.
No, but not guys, you're blowing this out of proportion. Okay. No.
Sebastian, are you an apothecary?
Listen. I would never ever be an apothecary, okay?
I also have a side question.
Yes.
What's an apothecary?
Oh, they're kind of like, they like to do magic, but they like to pretend that they do it smarter than sorcerers and wizards. They're like, oh, we study random facts of the world and therefore can make poison. I don't know, they're weird.
I think most of you would know that typically an apothecary is thought of as a practitioner of medicine, that rather than knowing that apothecary, like as in the apothecary class, right, that we've designed, like most people would think, oh, an apothecary is like a doctor or a healer of some kind.
Wait, so they had healers. They had this boat with delirium.
Yeah, but I don't think these apothecaries were healers. That's what I'm saying. So, apothecaries know how to mess with medicine, but they can also know secrets to necromancy.
Yeah, there's this like doctor in Caspia that poisoned a bunch of people, and it was totally by accident. But like he wasn't paying attention to like the mixtures. Is that like that? But like more menacing?
Was that the Caspian Dr. Frankenstein?
You've heard of his work?
Yeah, he was a bit of a reputation, that one.
Yeah, it was well known. I mean, he said it was by accident, but people have their suspicions.
Anyway, it sounds like we're not looking for a necromancer, but possibly a group of apothecaries.
Let's
Well,
see
whatever it was.
if we can meet up with them and find that manifest before
They were
we start
dead
making
bodies,
any
right?
assumptions. They could be good apothecaries, like actual healers. We don't know.
True. Portia, thank you very much. This has been very helpful.
Are you gonna clean this up? I referenced the dead body on the slab.
Yes, we will make sure that they are given their last rites and sent properly to whatever hereafter they seek.
Make a Lewis mop the floors.
Veo, you might be right. We might be jumping to conclusions, but as we head to the docks, let's keep an open mind that these apothecaries may not be behind this, but they might still be alive and might know something.
Yes.
And should we hurt them for information?
Beat up the nerds and take their homework.
Something
Never
like
been
that.
good at that though.
I just have to, like, I'm trying to be more respectful of people from different backgrounds, but also, like, if they're summoning demons, Ignatius wants to hurt them.
And we all do.
And Ignatius is yelling at me right now.
Trust me, Pluto, I have every reason to hate demons as much as you do.
You
Or more.
kind of looked like a demon a little bit ago.
Yeah, but that's my inner demons. Those are different.
Oh, it's more soulful.
As you leave the cathedral, you can see a rather embarrassed-looking Lewis being responsible for hauling the dead out to be properly laid to rest.
I guess, will we head to the docks now?
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah.
sounds like an appropriate next step. Good investigation.
Liberio's docks comprise basically the entire southern end of the city, the southern shore of the city, and in fact, even the docks extend up into the canals systems. But with asking around and a couple directions, you're able to get a reference to the port authority and the harbor master's office, where the port master Casilda Calento oversees the comings and goings of every ship that docks in Liberio. Casilda, the port authority is a stone building on the edge of one of the piers that is in the shadow of Anchor Citadel, which is where the proper fleet of Liberio's armada docks. And as you come out to the harbor of Liberio, it is a bustling port with hundreds of piers and hundreds of ships. And one of the things that strikes you immediately is that the port at Liberio is so busy that ships moor out on the water, and as you ask around, you learn that it's not uncommon for a ship to have to moor and lay anchor.
Well, I will stop the stream soon now. Going to pick up my daughter and a friend, school classmates. So, and then make dinner because my wife is working late tonight. So, But today it's going to be real easy. Just gonna make some hot dogs. So well, catch you guys later for World of Warcraft.